everyone, it's Melissa. Welcome back to my channel. Thought I would do a Friday Reads video for you this week. It has been an incredible week outside of reading. As most people know, it was Inauguration week here in the United States. We finally have a new president, and I cannot be more thrilled that Joe Biden is in the White House and is our new leader, and I am ecstatic. As most of you know, I am a huge Joe Biden fan, have been one for a long time. I love the guy, and I am beyond ecstatic. I'm so thrilled. Let me just adjust this a little bit because it looks like that's probably a little bit better. Anyway, so I am thrilled, so thrilled that that Joe is in office. I can't say enough, and I can't say enough really about how wonderful the inauguration was. I think for so many of us, I hear to a person that there is a collective feeling of like 100 pounds has been lifted off of us. The last 4 years have just been, just so exhausting and so mentally draining, and full of fear and worry about, what was going to happen next. And it just, I'm not even doing it justice, but you know what I'm talking about. I mean, it was just so great. And I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts today, Pod Save America, and they were saying that, one of the best gift, the only good thing that, Donald Trump did for this country was by not attending the inauguration. I mean, he truly gave us the gift of not having to worry, having to like listen to commentators talk about like his expressions and who he was talking to and who he wasn't talking to and his behavior. And I mean, to not have to deal with that during the inauguration was phenomenal. So there were so many wonderful moments. I did a little bit of a vlog in the days leading up to the events. I didn't film the actual inauguration itself or any clips from it, or even do a little brief recap. I think just because the whole day was just so incredible, not the least of which was Amanda Gorman and her amazing speech. I mean, she made all of us, even those of us who love poetry, fall in love with poetry again, and the power of words and language. And that young woman is going places. She is just like, as Anderson Cooper called her, a supernova. I mean, she is a force, and I am just so thrilled that we were introduced to her. I heard that Jill Biden was a fan of her work and recommended her for the inauguration. So, we all know what great taste she has, and it was just a great week. I am so happy. So anyway, but there was some reading this week as well. I finished No Time Like the Future, An Optimist Considers Mortality by Michael J. Fox. Everyone knows Michael J. Fox from his days of acting, from his roles on Family Ties and Teen Wolf, and of course Back to the Future. And so this book is his third, maybe fourth memoir. I have not read any of the others, but this one I wanted to read, and it sounds odd to say that I enjoyed it, because a lot of this book is sobering. Michael at the time is 58 years old, and he has had, of course, Parkinson's disease for 30 years now, and has been very public once he first disclosed it, with his struggles and with his research efforts on behalf of the Michael J. Fox, his founding of the Michael J. Fox Foundation. And so it was just really interesting to read. The predominant theme in this book is about movement, and it is, he talks a lot, and he kind of approaches this from several different ways. He talks about it as, from that as of his family. His kids are older. They're all like in their 20s. I think the youngest one just graduated high school this past spring, in 2020, and so they're all getting older. They're all going on with their lives. Of course, he talks about the movement issues with Parkinson's disease. The book opens with him falling at home, after being home for a rare night by himself. His wife Tracy Pollan, also the actress, was on Martha's Vineyard at the time. They were just finishing up a vacation, and she was staying at a little extra time up there because Michael was coming back to New York to film a spot in a movie. So, and then, he also talks about how, unrelated to his Parkinson's, he had a tumor on his spine and needed some surgery and rehabilitation for that. And so that necessitated him needing to learn how to walk all over again. So there's that, but there's, themes of growing older, particularly, feeling like at 58, that he is living the life of a much older person, before his time. He talks about his mother and mother-in-law in their 90s, and how they're very active and they are full of life, and how he envies that at 58. And it's also about the journey and the movement of his thinking about optimism. His previous memoir was Always Looking Up, and Lucky Man, and he writes that he feels like, he questions whether he has oversold optimism, on himself as an optimist to the Parkinson's community. And I thought that was pretty profound. It's a reflection, that he writes about, and about how, after so many years and all the struggles that he's been through, is that still where he's at? So, a great memoir. I think I gave it 3.5 stars, maybe 4 on Goodreads, not sure, but definitely well worth reading, particularly if you have anyone in your life who has Parkinson's or any related conditions. I think that it's definitely worthwhile. I had a DNF this week. I did not finish. That was Permission to Feel by Marc Brackett. Unfortunately, I didn't really like this one that much. Obviously, it's a DNF. I started listening to it on audio. I had become acquainted with Marc Brackett's work. He was the keynote speaker at a conference that I attended back in November. I attended virtually, of course, like everything else these days, and he gave a really powerful presentation, and just some real great insights. I mean, I was completely floored and wowed by what he had to say. So of course I had to check out his book from the library, which I did, which is why I don't have a copy of it here. So it was going to be a joint listen and read experience, but didn't happen. I think I got probably about like 50 or some pages into it on audio, and I just wasn't finding this. It was like a different person from the conference speaker. I just didn't really find anything in it that I hadn't really heard or read about before. He talks about problems in society being caused by children not being able to express their emotions properly, or being shut down when they are expressing them. How we need to recognize our own emotions, and like I said, I feel like this is terrain that I've read before. He does talk about a method that he came up with. He is a professor at Yale in the Yale Child Behavior Center. I'll link to that below. Um, that he does talk about his approach with working with kids and students. So if you are an educator and you're in that profession, maybe it might be worth looking into for that reason alone. But otherwise, yeah, not really a fan. So my major read this week was 100 Years of Solitude. I'm not too far into that yet. So there was one night where I was planning to start it, but I didn't. I was going to sleep, and I didn't want to start a brand new book right before going to bed. I don't like doing that. I just, and on those occasions, I'll either reach for some poetry or for a book of short stories, and so I picked up. I've been really trying to focus not only on reading books from my shelves, but from reading books that I like really want to read. Like before I die, like seriously, like books that I really want to make an effort to read before I go, which hopefully is not anytime soon, but as this past year has taught us, one never knows, right? So one of those is Remember to Forget Me by Kerry Neville. I guess that's kind of an ironic title since it's one of the books that I want to read, before I die. But anyway, Kerry is, full disclaimer, she's a friend of mine. We met back in 2016 when we were in a production of Listen to Your Mother together, which was a show where, women and men talk about motherhood. So it could be any experiences related to motherhood. Anyway, so Kerry became a friend as a result of that experience. This is her second book. Her first one is Necessary Lies, but this is her short story collection. And it is, I don't know how many short stories there are in this. Let me see if there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 of them. You can see what they are there. And I am only about a fourth of the way through the first story because when I picked it up before going to bed the other night, I did not realize that the first story was 41 pages long, even though it says so clearly on the table of contents. But anyway, yeah. So I'm enjoying it. The first story is about a woman from Poland who is the caretaker and home health nurse for a relatively wealthy woman, and she reflects on her husband being sick and taking care of him. So the focus is really on caregiving. So I think I'm really going to like this collection. Like I said, I'm a little bit biased because Kerry is a friend. But just look at the cover. The cover is just gorgeous. I love it. And looking forward to reading some more of these. I think this is just going to be one that I just kind of keep by the bedside, just savor it for a little while. And then, of course, 100 Years of Solitude. I'm participating. I'm not one of the official members of the group that is reading this, so I'm just kind of following along because this has been one of those classics that I've always wanted to read, so I figured why not. I am not very far into this. I think I'm on chapter 3, just finished page 40, so yeah, so I have some catching up to do with this one. So far I'm enjoying it. I would not say at this point that I am like completely blown away, that it's the best book I've ever read, that I'm completely enthralled, but I'm liking it. So I'm interested to see what happens from there, to see why there are so many enthusiasts for this one on BookTube. And so, we'll see how that goes. I also have it on audio as well. I'll be in the car for a little bit this weekend, picking up my daughter from college and taking her to the DMV to get a real ID. And she'll be coming home for the evening, which is going to be great. And it'll be nice to see her. And so yeah, So that's really about it for Friday Reads. I was going to combine this with a little vlog that I was doing earlier this week. I think I'm going to make that a little bit separate because I've learned that after my last video, which was 40 minutes, that I really do like to have them much shorter. So we're at 15 minutes now, so I'm going to wrap this up. I hope you had a great week. I hope that you had some great books to read during the past week, and I will talk to you again in my next video real soon. Remember to subscribe if you are so inclined, like this video, and I'll link to where else you can find me on social media below. Thanks so much. Have a great week. Bye.